What is a seller's market? We hear that term all the time, especially the past few years since COVID. It's a seller's market, but what does that mean? A seller's market happens when the demand for homes exceeds the supply of homes. So that gives sellers the upper hand in the negotiation. As a buyer, navigating a seller's market can be very challenging, but I'm here to help you and give you some valuable tips to increase your chances of success. First thing is you need to understand the market. Even if you're just going to sites like Zillow or Realtor.com, look at what's available in the area, what homes are under contract, and what's selling. That's going to give you a good general idea of what home prices are and what you're going to get in a house for the various price ranges. But you need to have a realistic perspective of what is going on in today's real estate market in regards to pricing, so that you don't have one expectation and start going out and looking at houses and finding out that that is not the reality of today. The second thing is to get pre-approved for a mortgage. Now, a lot of times we get the terms pre-qualified and pre-approved confused. They're used interchangeably, but they're really two totally separate things. When you get pre-qualified, that means you have called up a lender, you've talked to them on the phone, they may have pulled your credit, but they have not verified any of the information that you've given them. They've not verified your income, they've not verified your employment. They basically have pulled your credit and said, okay, yeah, based on the credit score, based on the information you've given me, you could go buy a $250,000 house. And that's what most people do. You're getting pre-qualified. To actually be pre-approved means that the mortgage company has actually looked at your income, your employment, your assets. They have verified all that information, and the only thing that you need to do is go find a house. And then they can get the title work ordered, they can get the appraisal ordered, and you know that you're good to go. As long as there's no issues with the title work, as long as there's no issues with the appraisal, you are going to close on that house. So if you get a true pre-approval instead of just a pre-qualification letter, that's going to give you a significant leg up on a lot of the buyers that are out in today's market, because you know that your income and assets have already been approved. Make sure that you're doing that, and make sure you're sharing that with your buyer's agent, so that when you're submitting offers, they can give the seller that assurance of, hey, my people are already approved. They're just waiting on the contract on a house to get the appraisal and title work done. The next thing you have to understand in a seller's market is that you do have to act quickly. And people lost out on houses over the past few years over this, because previously you could go look at a house and then the weekend passes, come Monday, you're like, okay, yeah, I think we really like that house. We want to put an offer on it, and you were fine. But now that we're in a seller's market, you don't have 2 to 3 days. And I know that that is super frustrating as a buyer, because you feel like people are pressuring you to make offers quickly, quickly, quickly. But if a home is priced right and it's prepared right when it's put on the market, it is going to sell. So it's not something that you can linger over for a couple of days. If you see a house and it checks all your boxes and it feels like home when you walk in, you need to write that offer. Don't delay, because you will end up losing the house to somebody who didn't stop and think about it. You want to make sure that you're working with a responsive realtor. If a house comes on the market, they need to be available to show it to you, or they need to have someone who can meet you and show you that house. Because again, you've got to act quickly in this market. If you wait a couple of days and say, well, I'm going to be off on Thursday, I'll go look at it then, it may be under contract by Thursday. And so you need to work with an agent who's going to be available, or who can have someone available to show you houses as soon as they come on the market, and he'll be ready to write that offer on the spot. You also have to understand you need to be flexible with your offer. So a lot of times right now, sellers are going to have to buy another home. So they've put theirs on the market. They're going to use the proceeds to buy their next home. So they may need 2 to 3 weeks after closing in order to get everything packed up and moved and ready for that next closing. So you have to be a little more flexible for people. They may want a larger earnest money deposit if you're a cash buyer. That gives them the security of knowing you've got some skin in the game, you're not going to walk away. Now, one of the suggestions that you will see on social media and on the internet on different things is to write a personalized offer letter. That is personally not something that I subscribe to. I think when you write these love letters to the sellers, as they're called, you run the risk of having discrimination involved in the negotiation situation. I don't advise any of my buyers to write love letters to the seller. Now, sometimes the seller may be there for a showing and you may meet that seller. There's nothing wrong with that. The seller may fall in love. And I've heard it so many times where like an older couple is selling their house because they need to downsize, and a young family comes in to look at the home and they want to work with that family because it reminds them of themselves back when they first bought that house. So I just tell people, bring your best offer, put your best foot forward, but let's not write some sappy love letter to the seller. The last thing you need to remember is that you have to stay positive and be persistent. You will probably lose out on 2 or 3 homes before you get a house under contract. Don't be discouraged. Don't get upset. There's a house out there for you. And I've had buyers who were absolutely heartbroken because they didn't get a house. And what I tell them, and what I firmly believe, is that God will close that door because He has something better for you. So you just have to stay positive and believe that there is a house out there that is especially for you. And all the no's you get are just helping you get closer to that house that you're meant to be in. So while buying a home in a seller's market can be challenging, it's not impossible. With the right guidance and the right realtor, we can help you find a home. If you found this helpful, be sure to follow and get more content from me on home buying and home selling tips.